This is Joe Biden. On July 28, 2022, Biden had a meeting with cabinet members to talk about the economy.
And one of the things I fully understand it, like I said, I was raised in one of those households where when the price of a gallon of gasoline went up, it was a topic of discussion around the kitchen table.
Biden says this all the time. When he was a kid, when gas prices went up, it was a topic of discussion around the kitchen table.
I grew up in a family about 100 miles from here that where the price of gas went up, you felt it. It was a discussion at the kitchen table. The price of gas at the pump is something that I told you heard me say before would be a matter of great discussion at my kitchen table when I was a kid growing up. I grew up in a family where prices went up for things that were daily requirements like the gallon of gasoline. It became a discussion at the kitchen table. It mattered. It was always on the margins. We felt it.
And it wasn't just a discussion at the kitchen table, it was a matter of great discussion. But let's explore this claim once and for all. During Joey Jojo's childhood, and going well into his late 20s, there was a distinct lack of volatility in the price of oil, which means that the price of gasoline was flat and price spikes never happened. In fact, according to the Department of Energy, within a 22-year period, the national average price of a gallon of gasoline rose a grand total of 9 cents.
We weren't poor. We were just a typical middle-class family in a 3-bedroom house with 4 kids and a grandpa. But all kidding aside, we lived fine.
But all kidding aside, not a joke. Look, fat, look. Biden grew up middle class, and he just can't shut up about it. Mostly because he's trying to distract from the fact that he's been a rich elite since the 1970s.
But it mattered. It mattered whether the price of gasoline went up.
So during Joe Biden's childhood, when the price of gasoline went up, it generally rose by a penny. And when it did, it was such an important event that it became a topic of discussion at the Biden kitchen table. And I think it would go something like this. Good morning, Biden family. Mother, Frank, Jim, Valerie, Grandpop. Morning, Joey. Did you see that gasoline's up a penny a gallon? Okay. Why should I care? I'm 7. Attaboy. Does that mean Christmas is canceled? I'm just making conversation, Joey. What is wrong with your damn kid? Okay, first of all, what is the point of talking about gas prices with your children? What can they do about it? And even if this was brought up at the kitchen table, which I highly doubt, how much discussion can one possibly squeeze out of gas prices rising by a penny? Are we gonna have to move again, Pop? No, stupid. It means it's gonna cost a little more to fill up the tank. What is wrong with you, Joey? Joseph, I just need a little bit of breathing room from this moron.
What my dad used to call just a little bit of breathing room. Just a little bit of breathing room.
Anyway, to put this in perspective, Joe Biden is comparing the 1950s and 60s, when gas prices rose an average of 3% year over year, with gas prices now, where they've risen as high as 109% just while he's been in office. And on top of that, Joe Biden wants you to believe that spending an extra 18 to 20 cents to fill up a gas tank 60 years ago was not only a struggle, but is on par with having to pay hundreds of dollars more a month in the now. And that's indicative of why Americans don't trust Joe Biden's handling of the economy. In a recent Harvard-Harris poll, 67% of Americans think that the US economy is on the wrong track, including 57% of Democrats. And only 36% of Americans approve of Joe Biden's handling of the economy. And Joe Biden is baffled by this, and he thought it was a good idea to openly question how Americans are feeling.
One of the things that I find is I look at and I take it very seriously, the confidence level of the American people in the economy, and they're so down and they're looking, there's reason to be down, but I started thinking about it.
Yeah, that's where he should have stopped himself.
You know, the first year we were able to, with the rescue plan, we were able to send them a check for $8,000.
Hang on. Do you remember getting a check for $8,000? Because I sure don't.
I mean, a check. One, and beyond that, by the way, there's more than that.
More than $8,000? What the hell is he talking about? Well, it turns out that Biden is referring to the expanded child tax credit, which in 2021 provided up to $8,000 in direct payments for parents making less than $125,000 a year with at least 2 children under the age of 13 years old. Of course, he doesn't explain that. Then again, maybe he's just confused and thinks that literally everyone got an $8,000 check.
But if you're making $120,000 and you get a check for $8,000, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, he thinks everyone got a check. And Joe Biden can't understand why Americans think that the economy sucks because they received money from the government last year. And how long does he think that $8,000 lasts?
And so it helped save a lot of people in terms of getting thrown out of their homes and rental housing and a whole range of things.
But the child tax credit is supposed to offset the costs of raising kids, not pay people's rent.
But I started thinking about it, just as somebody who's raised a middle-class kid.
Oh my God, shut up.
One year, even though you didn't have the job you have now, even though you didn't get a raise that year, the difference between having a job, having a 5% raise or whatever, 3, 5, 7, whatever it happens to be, in the face of inflation.
And of course, while you may be making 3, 5, 7% more, 9.1% inflation, the highest in 40 years, mind you, is not only wiping out those wage gains, but it's wiping out your paycheck in general.
In the face of inflation, price of the pump, although that's down every day so far.
Yes, the price at the pump has gone down from its all-time record high of $5 a gallon nationally. But at the time of his statement, it was still way too high at $4.27 a gallon, which is $1.88 higher than it was back in January 2021.
But, it's like, whoa, I feel worse off. But then again, I didn't get a check for $8,000 from the government. They just, among other things.
So Joe Biden is complaining that Americans are unhappy about the economy, and on top of that, Biden is questioning their reasoning. For clarity, I will read the quote again. But it's like, whoa, I feel worse off. But then again, I didn't get a check for $8,000 from the government.
Does that make any sense to anybody, or is it just me?
So Joe Biden, Scranton Joe, middle-class Joe, is dumbfounded that Americans would feel worse off during a time of record high gas prices and 40-year high inflation. And then he has the nerve to imply that they're stupid for feeling that way, all because Democrats bribed them with checks a year ago. Checks that undoubtedly contributed to massive inflation.
Does that make any sense to anybody, or is it just me?
In other words, suck it up, America. You'll take what Joe Biden allows you to have, and you'll be grateful for it. Anyway, on that note, that's it for now. Be sure to hit that like button, check out these videos that you probably missed, and as always, I hope to see you next time. If there is next time.